trying to get situated. Okay, so I'm gonna go over Procreate. Sorry, this thing's a little finicky. For any of you, you know, who've been asking questions about how I use this program, this is it. This is Procreate. All right, it's a pretty cool program. I have it on the iPad Pro. It's pretty cheap. It's only like $9.99, as in $9. It's the iPad that's the expensive part. And yeah, if you guys have any questions along this, just please ask away. It's a lot easier for me to answer questions than to try and figure out what to teach you, because there's just so much. So this little pen up here, that's those are all your brushes. So you got like the pencil, you know. Oh, and if you double tap, so you take 2 fingers, single tap, 2 fingers, 1 tap, and that's an undo. Or you could go down here. This is an undo. This is a redo. Pretty cool. I usually use, under inking, I like to use the technical pen. A lot of people import brushes or create special brushes. I haven't really messed around with that, so I like to just use this. And it's a pretty cool, there's some pretty cool tricks that you can do with this. Let's see. A lot of people talk about like, oh, I can't make it smooth when I draw. Well, here's an easy trick to that. You go to Streamline, so let's go back. Let me show you what I did. You go to your pen. You click on whatever pen you want to use. So you get right here, click, and go, look at Streamline right here. Now this, if you max that, it'll make it a lot more smooth when you draw. And if you bring it all the way down, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but it's not as smooth like here. So I'll leave it all the way down and I'll show you the difference. I usually bring it all the way down to sign my name. So, see, it draws just like a regular pen. It follows just like that. Now remember, double tap. Tap, 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 tap. Now if I were to tap that again and bring the streamline all the way up, watch the difference when I try and sign my name. See, I'm going the same speed, but it's not following me as quickly. It smoothens it out. So you don't want to use that for signatures. You want to use it for, you know, like what I do with drawing lines. It makes it so much nicer. I mean, it's a nice cheat, but you still got to practice. Sorry I'm late, but is that not? Yep, this is the iPad Pro, and the app is called Procreate. See, this is why you don't, it just makes your writing look terrible. So double tap, or, you know, 2-finger tap. All right, so that's your brush. Yeah, when I draw, I bring that streamline, I max it out. There's a few other things here. You know, if you want to change the shape, grain. I haven't really messed around with this, so I'm not going to go into all that. That's just too much. But yeah, that's what I use, technical pen. People always ask. It's just, it comes with Procreate. Now this is your eraser. You know, you erase things, obviously. Gosh. Okay, so this is, you have 2 of these bars right here. This is the size of your brush. You have it all the way down. Let's see. All the way down here, and it's thin. I don't know, you guys can barely see that. And, you know, all the way up, this is as big as it goes, that brush. If you want to go bigger, you're going to have to find some other brushes, like Studio Pen. That's as big as it goes. For the really big ones, you could try the airbrushing. Those are nice. You have the soft, medium, the hard brush. See, it's huge. Okay, I keep calling it double tap, but you guys know what I mean. Double finger tap, or 2-finger tap. All right, so that's the size of your brush. This one down here is the opacity, which means how transparent or how bold it is. So that's like opacity is all the way up. You bring it down and see, I don't know if you guys can even see that. Let's go halfway. See? And this right here is your color. And a lot of people have their palettes like right here. You can choose from here. They're so pretty. But I don't know. I like the wheel. You can choose any color you want. And I love that. Okay, so I'll just go with blue for now. Now, here's a fun trick with shapes. Now, if you were to do a circle, I got a lot of people like, how do you get perfect circles? Well, let me turn that opacity all the way up. Okay, so I want a perfect circle. You just draw a circle, hold it, and you see how it corrected itself? Now, that's not a perfect circle, that's an ellipse. But if you want a perfect circle, you just take your finger and tap. See? That's perfect circle. Okay? So you see, that's how it would look if I just drew it regularly. So there's my circle. I'm doing it that way. Ellipse. Pretty cool, right? Like you can really ellipse. And then finger, perfect circle. It also works with squares. See? And tap, and it's a perfect square. You know, rectangle, or a perfect rectangle. Also with triangles, same thing. So those are your shapes. It doesn't do things like this is a hard one because in Polynesian art I like to do a lot of these swirls. It won't autocorrect that for you. It'll look like that. So that's where you really got to practice. Okay. And also with okay, like I'm using the Studio pen right now just because it's bigger. But your pressure, what do you call it? The thinness and thickness of your ink relies on your pressure, just like a regular pen. You know, you press it too hard and it's bold, it's thin. A lot of people, what they do is they upload like letters to practice with. I should have done that. But I haven't, because I don't work with a whole lot of letters ever since Procreate made it so you can import, you know, font. I just haven't really. But yeah, for nice effects, you want to practice, you know, pressing hard, pressing light to get that nice look instead of, you know, always making it bold. If you want something like a brush that's constantly the same size, you know, that's what I did a lot for, what do you call, for my tribal, because I like it consistent, is I'd use the monoline. So that's this one right here. It's under calligraphy and monoline. Like no matter how hard you press it or how light, it's always going to be that same, like it's going to look the same throughout. So that's kind of cool. All right, so I showed you shapes, size, brushes, streamline, eraser. Okay, so Here's another one you can use. So like if you're doing shading, let's try an example. So here's a design. I don't know why I'm using this one. You don't really use a whole lot of shading in this. But say we were to, like say, man, I'm sorry if any of you, how do you set it up? Okay, what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna need some specifics there. Sorry, if I don't see your questions, you might have to just like ask it again, because there's kind of a lot of you. So I'm going over the smudge tool. This one is a pretty cool tool for shading. I usually use it for. So I use like the soft brush right here, or the smaller one. And see, you can just push it. That's all. See, all it does, it just pushes it for you. You have to be careful though, because you know, you're gonna mess up your line work. So I usually use another layer for that. Hey, I'm always happy to collab. Okay, so I should probably go over layers. I hope you guys know what layers are. To work with a program like this to its full potential, you need to understand layers. Now, this is all on one layer, and you can see them up here. That's what this tab is. You see the layer, and it has the background. Now, I'm going to clear this, and let's see. I'm going to draw a box to put my designs in, and I'm going to make that a perfect box. Now I'm going to click this plus sign and get another layer, and that's where I'm going to put my designs. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about going inside the lines or outside. Okay, so remember what I talked about with autocorrect, like auto-correcting like your lines? You can do that with arcs too. Like this one, I'm doing this. Okay, maybe I should make it a little bit more obvious. Okay, so I'm doing that. See? It corrects itself, which is pretty cool. And if you still don't like it, you just go up here, edit shape, and make it to how you like it. See, and just to make it auto correct your shape, you just draw, hold it, and then it'll autocorrect. Okay. All of this really is practice. Like, you can learn a whole lot of tricks, but man, if you don't practice, you're not going to get anywhere with anything in life. Okay, I'm just gonna put a few designs in here so I can show you. See, I'm not too worried about staying inside the box, and I'll show you why in a minute when I'm done with these. I'm not really gonna go over, you know, the meaning of all these designs right now, because I just want to get you familiar with the program. But I mean, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I was hoping for a much nicer setup with this live, but my husband is outside working. He was supposed to watch our daughter. Thankfully though, I just put her down for a nap, which is why I'm a little quiet. Alright, so, you know, that's the Feely, for those of you who know Psalm 1. It's a braid. And I just like to do little, it's like reminiscent of shading. You know, you just get these little lines in there and it makes it look like shading. Just little accents, little details. I love details. I've always loved the little details. It's what, see, and what's cool about this compared to when you draw on paper is you can move it around a lot. You know, for me, I'm always moving my pencil. Moving my moving my notebook and having to readjust with this. This is why it's hard for me to do to videotape or videotape. That's I'm old. To video or record when I'm drawing because I move it around so much. You know, it's always easy to draw lines when you're going this way or this way. It's not so easy to go like that, like upwards. You want to go with your hand, you know, the motion is easier. And Procreate lets you do that, which is really cool. Okay, it's about to get really awkward here because my mom. Hey, Mom. All right, so that's our braid. We have the spearhead that a lot of you know. So this is where you want to practice your pressure. So I usually, man, it's a lot harder with the studio pen. For pressure, you're going to want to use technical pen. It's a lot more controlled. See? Because I want it to look sharp instead of like that. Like I don't like that rounded bit there. Yeah, and that's all you do. You just, don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how to do the symmetrical thing later. The, you know, where you can mirror the image in 2 ways, 4 ways. If you guys know what mandalas are, it makes it so easy to do those. Alright, I'm going to show you guys why I don't care about. I'm going to leave that for now because, okay, so see this outside of the box? If I want to get rid of that, I need to make sure that this box, layers is kind of hard to explain, so bear with me. This is called Procreate, guys. I need to write it up here. I hope I'm giving you guys actual information that you find helpful. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this other tool here, and this is the, gosh, I'm not really quite sure what you call it, but it's kind of like a highlighting tool. Now, see, I have 2 layers here. I have the box, and I have the tribal designs. And if I want to see what it looks like without the tribal designs, I just click this square and make it empty, this box. So if I click it on, it shows up. If I don't, it takes it away, just like the box. You can do it with both, whichever. But anyway, I want to click on this box and go over here to this S-looking thing, and I go to automatic, and I click out here because it's outside of the box, right? Then I click where the tribal is. I get the eraser. Oh man, it is really hard to do this with on the live. So I get my 3 fingers and I just do that, and it gets rid of that. I don't know if you guys followed that or what. It's a little complicated, but let me undo that and show you. So I want to make sure that I click my box, okay? Because that's the shape I want to maintain in this picture. I want to get rid of the tribal outside of it. Okay, so click on the box, go to the squiggly thing, go to, make sure this is highlighted automatic, okay, because it'll pick up what you'll see. What it sees that we don't is it looks only at this shape, this box. So you go to the squiggly thing and you click automatic, and it'll highlight everything outside of the box. Or if you want, if you click inside, it highlights everything inside of the box. But it only works with this shape. Okay, so these lines are the borders. So I click outside of that, and I want to make sure that this tribal is on, and make sure that you click on the tribal because that's what you want to erase. You go up to the erase tool, and you just take 3 fingers and move it around like that, and it'll erase that. Okay, so to show you guys another tool with the dropping tool, the color drop, instead of going in and, you know, manually coloring all of this, there's a much easier way to do it. But you need to make sure that everything is closed off. And what I mean by closed off is like this. Like there's a solid triangle right here. You know, if it was like that, where there's a little bit of an opening, and I were to bring this color in, it would highlight everything because it needs a real border to it. So to do that in this box, since I already got rid of the shapes outside, what I could do is just click on the tribal and click merge down. Now it makes that one layer. There's no, that's all you got. It's all one shape now. Now, because it's closed, I can bring the color in. Now the reason why I did that, let me show you why. And I'm gonna undo that. Now I have 2 layers, right? So I'm gonna get rid of this box. And if I were to bring, I gotta show you, see this color up here? The way to bring it into anything is I would just grab that and, oh gosh, and pull it into the triangle, into an actual shape that's closed off. So just drag it over. See? And I can do that with these because they're closed, like I said. But you see this one where, I'm going to zoom in, where this isn't closed? If I were to bring that in, it colors everything. Now that's why I want to, like, you can just go in there and close it off like that, you know, but if you want to close off everything, you know, like if you wanted to, let's get this square. This is why you make it one layer. If you merge it down, then you could bring this in here and it would only color that area because it's closed off. Now let me undo it and show you. If it's 2 layers, then this square, the border, is separate from the tribal. So if I were to bring this into the tribal, it doesn't see the border. I hope that makes sense. It doesn't see the border, so it's going to color everything. That's why you want to make it one layer. All right, and that's when you merge down. Now, you can get your fingers and just pinch them together, but my fingers are not very good at doing that. There you go. You can pinch them together, or you could just merge down, and that's one square. But I recommend whenever you have like a clean picture like this, you're gonna want to draw on another layer. So make another layer to draw your design in for this one, because if you were to draw on this, it's just like drawing on paper. You know, like if I were to draw in here, it's another design I really like. Okay, waves. Now, see, with that one, I would have to I would have to erase it. Now, because it's one layer, I have to go in, zoom all the way in, get that eraser tool, and try to erase that nicely so that I don't mess up any of the lines. See, like that, you know. I don't want to touch that border because I like the way it looks. So let me show you, if I were to do it on a separate layer, see, I have a new layer because I don't want to touch this nice one. And I do this again. And this is all practice. Okay, so that up there, instead of worrying about that border, I just go and take the eraser tool and I can erase this because it's on a separate layer. I don't have to worry about the border because it doesn't touch it. See that? Pretty cool. And then all I do, see, because if you were to bring that color drop in, it would color everything because it's not closed off. The border is not recognized. So to do that, you already drew this. It looks good. You want to connect it with your bottom design. You click that, you merge down, and then you can bring your color in there. See, it's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, there are different pens. Oh no, see, look at this. I'm not sure where that came from, but I would usually just go and undo until, let's see. Okay, so see that? I was wondering where that was. Now, I went back until it was 2 layers again. And when you uncheck this box and get rid of a layer, you can see where that is. Now, when I check this box, it's obviously on the layer where the waves are. So I just go to that layer, get the eraser, and erase this. And then I put it back. I can also get rid of that like I wanted to do. And merge down. There you go. Different pens, yes. Let's see. I'll show you guys how I use the airbrush pen after I'm done with this next design. How many layers you have, it depends on how big your art piece is, like how big of a size you're going with. Like this one's pretty small, so I could probably have several layers. Like some of my artwork, man, you'll see so many layers. Like let me bring up an example. Like this one that I did today. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is like I don't even know. See all these layers? It takes all these layers to make this photo. So yeah, and that's because it's relatively a small photo. If it was, if I was making a design that was huge, like, well, like you guys saw this one. This one is actually in the calendar, and the print size, it has to be big. So I can't have too many layers. There's a limit, and I actually think it was 10, because I think if I tried, and you'll know, because if you'll try and put another layer, it'll tell you max layers exceeded. For your question about pens, yes, I have a lot of pens, physical pens and pens inside of Procreate. Like I have a whole dresser drawer. I have a drawer, it's just all pens. Pens, markers, you know, just everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw a little bit to show you. All right, now I'm gonna show you, oh, see, I drew on the layer instead of making another one. So that was kind of risky, but I've done this a lot, so I'm used to it. By pens, you mean pens in the app or actual pens? I think brushes from that program. Printouts. Does it minimize your work since it's from that program? Not quite sure what you mean. This program, okay, so when you bring in something to work with, like you do this plus sign, you can choose your canvas size right here. And the big ones I go with are 6,000 by 4,000 pixels. You know, and that's relatively large. You can also go by inches, so like 10 inches by 20 inches. And if you were to print that, it'd actually print out pretty good. I mean, these, like this one, you know, these I print on, like, man, I can print them on a 40-inch by 60-inch canvas, and it comes out pretty good, you know? It all depends on what size you choose in here and how clear you want it to be. All right, so what was it? Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna like fill in these. Okay, and if you want the same color, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this blue that I just put in there is a little bit different than this blue. So if I want to put that exact same blue, I would just, here, let me show you, give an example. So we're going to use a different brush here. I like the hard brush. So there's that. I'm going to choose this. And this is what a lot of artists do too. They bring in their palettes, like the colors that they want to use for their design. And the reason why they put them on the side is because they can just tap them and bring those colors in. And what I mean by that is, so like the green, I want to put green in here somewhere, I would just hold that down. Now you see that wheel? That tells me that it's picking up that color. See, and now it goes up to here. This is how you know what color you're going to be using. It's going to go to that top right. Okay, so I can hold down the pink and see, it goes over there. Hold down the blue, it's over there. So green, and anything that's already a certain color, like if I were to bring this green into this blue, all of it's everything blue is gonna be green because it's touching each other. Like if I had, let me bring that blue. And I'm gonna go inking. Okay, so pay attention to these dots. Sometimes I use dots in my artwork. Okay, so those dots are not touching anything else. So if I were to pick up this green and move it in, everything is going to be green except these dots. They're going to stay that color because they weren't touching anything. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And likewise, see these triangles? You can bring that green in there, but you can't bring them into these anymore because, well, we've already colored them. You know, anything that's blue, it's all on one layer. Now, if there were 2 layers, then that'd be a different story. Okay, so I'm going to finish coloring this because I want to show you another cool trick. If there's anything specific that you guys want to see, let me know. Because it might not sound like it, but whenever I know I have someone's attention for something, I actually do get a little nervous, especially when it comes to art. Okay, so thank you. All right, so here's a cool coloring tool, right? So you see this one layer that we have, you just click that, you click select, and that'll, you know, just select the color. That's everything that's colored in there. And I would get a color up here, any color I want, say yellow, because I like blue and yellow together. This is what I use the airbrushing for. You go over here, use your airbrush tool, or your airbrush brush, the soft one, and you can make it as big as you like. And you just color it. This is how you get a nice gradient. Okay, maybe go across. But you see that? See how nice that is? Are you gonna save this live? You know what? I think I'm going to. I'll try to figure out how to do that. So let's try a different color because it's still selected. I don't know if you guys can tell. See these little lines right here? The lines going diagonally? That's how you know that it's selected. Okay, those normally aren't there. And also if this blue, if this little squiggly thing is not blue, then it's not selected. But since it is blue, you know that you still have that box and the tribal selected. So now that I put some yellow in, I can go over here and pick a different color, this pink, and add that. And now look, I have a nice gradient. I like it. And you can keep adding to it as much as you like. You know, you can just mess around with it, you know. But it's also going to color these because these are on that same level. I should have put them on a different layer. Okay, now I'm gonna create a different layer, and I'm going to hide this one. So I'm gonna uncheck that box. It's still gonna be there, but it's just kind of hidden. Okay, so I'm on a totally different layer because I want to show you guys, I think, what a lot of you have been wanting to learn, and it's that thing about mandalas. You just go to this wrench right here on the left, and you go to Canvas, go to Drawing Guide, go to Edit Drawing Guide, and you'll see, you know, a grid. Now it'll show the 2D grid. It'll show 2D grid, isometric, and you know, it'll make instead of squares, you'll have these. And the reason for those is like perspective drawing, you know, like this. There's symmetry, and this is the one where whatever you draw on the left side will go to the right and vice versa. You could do it left to right, right to left, or you could go up to down. It's your choice. But let's play with symmetry because it's fun. So let's go to options, and you can go vertical, horizontal, quadrant, which means like you could do it 4 ways. So whatever you draw up here will show up here, here, and here. But I think for now, let me show you the symmetrical, you know, just the vertical, which means long ways, so left to right. In case you missed that, the wrench, drawing guide, turn it on, edit drawing guide, and then go down here to symmetry, okay? And you'll see this line in the middle and this circle. Okay, and then press done. Oh. This color bar up here, this is what color you want your lines to be. I accidentally made it white. But yeah, let's make it an obvious color, like blue. Done. All right, my color is green. Oh, I hope you guys can see this okay. All right. My color is green. And let's see. Oh, I still have the airbrush tool on, or airbrush brush. Technical pen. So, see? It just mirrors it for you. Isn't that so simple? Like, let me get a darker color so you can see. This is great for when you're drawing faces. Creepy faces. Yeah, so, yep. I usually use these for like tiki designs and stuff. And faces. Yep. That's all you do. You can just mess around with it. Same thing like when you bring in color. Whatever you do on one side, it's gonna happen on the other side. All right, now that's the symmetrical, the vertical. Horizontal, you click that, it'll same thing up and down. Quadrant, let's try that. And see, you'll see 4 boxes now. So, oh my goodness, I always do that. I'm trying to, gotta pick an obvious color for this. Okay, so whatever I draw in this box, there you go. See, look at that. It's very fun. Yeah, possibilities are endless. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, it's a pretty fun program. So that's a quadrant. Like, this is really great for if you want to do something for your daughter. If your daughter is really into Frozen, because I know mine is, you could do, well, some kind of looking. Actually, let me show you the one that's better for frost. What do you call those? Snowflakes, frosted flakes. Oh my goodness. Don't laugh at me. All right, that's a quadrant. Now radial, that's where you're gonna have some real fun, because that'll divide it up into 8. Yes, please. All right, so you can you can see, man, these guys are laughing at me. So you have 8 different sides, all right? So look at that. Awesome, right? It's really hard to mess up your artwork when it's a radial. You know, it's like a kaleidoscope. But it'll have your center point right here. And whatever you draw around it, see, you could just, look at that. Oh my goodness, you can do anything. Okay, so like I was saying, with Elsa, if your kid is really into Elsa, Frozen, you could, look at that, oh my goodness. That doesn't really look like a snowflake. What do snowflakes look like again? There we go. Ish. Something like that. You could do so much with this. Yep, it's a lot of fun. And then you can bring in, well, see these openings right there? Since they're there, you can't bring color in because it's gonna color everything. So you can close those. Let's close them so we can bring some color in. I think everything's closed. All right, we'll click that color. We'll get a nice bright one. And then you just color it. So pretty. Now to turn it off, let's see. I want to add to this. So see, remember that other layer is still there, but it's not being used. So I would click add, put another layer on there. And here's another fun, like some of these brushes, they're just so cool. Like you can do flicks, elements, they have snow, they have water, clouds, luminance is a nice one. You usually want to use that for dark backgrounds. So let me show you how to make this background dark. This background now is white. So all you do, because that background color is always going to be there, you just click on it and pick any color here and it'll automatically make it. So let's make it like a dark blue. Wow, purple. All right, we can do a purple-ish. That's actually perfect. That's very much like Elsa. Now, remember I have a different layer here and I want to choose blue again. And I'm going to click glimmer. Okay, that's under luminance. There are so many brushes to choose from, but I really like these light ones. And you just, look at that. Just mess around with it. And it's, this app is called Procreate. Now, with those layers again, how they're ordered is very important too. Now you see these are in front. You see these specks are in front of the snowflake. Well, if you want them behind it, see your specks are on one layer and your snowflakes on the other. And because the specks are on top, that's why they're in front. Now if you were to hold this and then drag it underneath the snowflake, it would push those specks to the back of the snowflake. See, so how you order your layers is very important. And also, you remember when we put the drawing assist on to make this snowflake? You know, the edit drawing guide and all that stuff? Well, let's see. You can see here on this layer where the snowflake is, it says assisted down there. That means that is still, it's still active. It's still gonna act that way, where whatever you draw on it, like let's do the inking. Whatever you draw, it's gonna act that way, you know, the mirrored effect, kaleidoscope effect. So on that layer, you can do that. But it doesn't say that on the specs layer because, well, we didn't put it on there. So you have to turn it on for every layer that you want. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that on and I'm gonna show you guys that grab tool for shading. Now I make sure it's on automatic down here and I click these. Now unfortunately I have to click every one for this because the highlighting tool doesn't work for, you know, that mirrored effect. It doesn't work like that. It's outside of that law. So it's red, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay red. It's only red because it shows that you highlighted. Now I'm gonna go to this color up here and say, we'll do like a pink, and we'll go to airbrush tool, and see, I use this a lot for shading or coloring. Like I like it a lot, the airbrush tool. See? And you can mess around with that. Look at this. We barely did any work, and it already looks kind of nice. Okay, so the app is called, did I ever write it down here? Procreate. Now, as far as I know, it's only on Apple products. The iPad Pro, someone I know uses it on their iPhone. I didn't even know you could do that, but apparently you can. So it's called something else though. I'm not sure what it is, but it's called something else. For Procreate, that's for iPad. So I'm gonna hide that layer. What else? Man, I think I went over most of this stuff already. Okay, so for those of you who want to do vectors, I know some of you have like the Cricut and Silhouette. You know, they can all hear you burping, right?
Excuse me.
So if you guys want to, you know, make a vector, like a PNG file with a clear background, all you do is just, for that, you uncheck that background layer right here. You just uncheck it and see. You see these squares, the grid, the gray grid? That means there's no background. So you could just use this, go to the wrench, share, and save it as a PNG. And it'll save that with a clear background. It won't work if you do it with JPEG or anything. You have to save it as a PNG. All right, let me see. Crop and resize, you know, you can make it bigger, smaller. There are some fun things with Procreate. You can do animations now, but that might be a little bit too advanced for this tutorial. Now there's text. You can add text now. That's pretty cool. But yeah. So far, I think that's all I can teach you for today. Unless you guys have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. All right, let's see. I think that's all, huh? I can try and do an animation for you guys, so delete, delete, delete. I can just erase part of this.
It's not working.
So this is how, when you do animations, this is where your layers are important. So I'm clicking these off because I don't want them to show and I want to work with this layer. I want to select it and I want to change the colors. So yes, they can hear you eating your Oreos.
Oreos are vegan.
No, they're not. Well, actually they are, but still. Okay. So I'm just changing the colors of all of these because I want to show you the animation and how that works. It's pretty fun. Remember, as long as you select it, it'll only color that part. Okay, so there we go. You'll see that I have, every layer has a different color. So if I were to animate this, I would go to share, animated, MP4 or something. And that's what it would look like. You can choose how fast or how slow you want it. Isn't that cool? So this is how I do the videos for the Samoan calendars on Instagram. I just, yep. And what it does, it just, oh shoot, I did not mean to export that. It just animates, every layer is its own frame. So you could do a lot with that. Like, a really easy one would be if you were to do lights. Like for example, I'm going to choose white because it's easy to draw with. So there's a line there, and we'll do bulbs. And I just duplicate that. So if I slide it and duplicate, it'll make the same layer. But I don't want to show these. I want to color in these. And if you look at the layers, you can see where I'm coloring them. Like the first one, the second one, or I could just turn it off. And that'll make it much more clear what I'm doing. I promise I'm usually a lot more articulate. But I have no excuse. I'm just tired. My daughter. I hope you guys are enjoying this live. Okay, so...
I am.
Aw, thank you, honey. Oh, I'm sorry, G. Some people were looking on Facebook for me. I wish I should have had a different phone. All right, so if you look on every frame, each separate bulb is colored. And every layer is going to be a frame. So if I animate that, MP4, see? Well, I can slow it down so you can see it. I try to print my own when I can. Like, I need to invest in a better printer. But usually I go to Office Depot is actually a pretty good place to do it. Now, a lot of people, they go to like, don't go to Walmart. Do not go to Walmart, man. Walmart they are so expensive. Don't go to Walgreens. Walgreens is so expensive. You can go to Office Depot or even FedEx. Office Depot, they usually have better prices. Even Staples is pretty good. And you just ask them for photo paper. And
Yeah, you're on Facebook now.
It's too late.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And people have to sign into yours to get into Facebook.
No, I'm using that.
Where were you a while ago? All right. Tattoo artist, would you